And a lot of us criminologists, even myself and Mr. Janji, as we talk from Nairobi coming down here, asking ourselves, what could have happened to this guy? Many of us were thinking, hiyo ilikuwa njama na polisi. Many were thinking, kwa nini an offender like, a capital offender like that gentleman would be contained in a report office and not somewhere different? Many questions came up. Many questions came up. And many questions were asked and many answers came up. And we are still going to get more answers. This is a transgressive behavior, Pastor. So we ask ourselves as criminologists, what is this that transgresses this behavior? What makes you behave abnormally? Listen to what I'm saying, because I'm going to give you answers how you plug all these things into your career. Listen very carefully. Pay all attention, right? We study institutions in criminology, institutions, social and individual mechanisms at work behind crime. We study criminal gangs. We study individual transgressors, capital offenders, petty offenders. We study all that and look at what is the transgressive behavior behind this person. I have described myself to you. You have known me from my description. So when you look at me, you can be able to explain, Chris is very loud in his speaking. Why? Because he was a military guy. You can relate my military life to my speaking. Kweli wongo. Mimi Chris, ukinipata kama nimejataka shati yangu kwa longi, and you ask yourself, this guy was a military person. Why has he changed that discipline that was instituted into him? And now anatembea na shati bila kutaka kwa longi. What has changed my behavior from what was forced to me to the free decision that I am making not to tuck in my shirt? That is what we look at as criminologists. Just an example, right? Then the next thing, we are an interdisciplinary field. Interdisciplinary. What does interdisciplinary mean? It means I can work with an accounts person. I can work with a customer service person. I can work with an internal control, internal audit person. I can work with a miller. I can work with a machine operator. I can work with a mechanic. All of them. I can work with them. The next thing is I need, as a criminologist, to understand the job done by that other person so that when an investigation or a research is put before my table, I can be able to explain a lot of things with reference to what is on my table. I'm still coming to what I'm supposed to give you with reference to that, isn't it? Then, we do researches, and a lot of researches have been done. And we spend our time reading these researches. White papers, research papers, what? You spend a lot of time in reading them. Written by fellow criminologists who are really advanced in this discipline. And when you read their views, you start to think, you start thinking that there is more than what I am thinking that is concerned in my career now. Right? I'm going to VUCA to the next one. The next one. Criminology focuses on several aspects. Several aspects. Listen carefully. Because the next slide I'm not going to start relating what I've spoken from these two slides. Number one, causes of crime. Now, there are always discussions on TV, discussions on newspapers, write-ups on papers, and edited by editors and things like that. Discussions on radios, discussions in schools. We are asking ourselves now, why are our boys and girls in high school getting lost to alcoholism or becoming alcoholics? Why can they live their lives out of alcohol? Because my presumption of alcohol is that alcohol must be consumed or should be consumed by a person who is of age. Of age is nobody below 18. 18, you become an adult. Then you go through another stage before you become now a full adult. We, as my thought, in my upbringing, alcohol was supposed to be consumed by guys above 30 years old. You see that categorization? So we look at the causes of crime in our study and we ask ourselves, why are schoolboys do videos, TikTok videos, Facebook videos, WhatsApp videos of them consuming alcohol, to include publicly, bila shida. You saw the young lady on WhatsApp. Alikuwa amelewa kabisa na mimi mama yake, I don't even know who my father is, and things like that. The next thing, types of crime. We look at the types of crime that occur or happen in this world. Na tunazichambua, terrorism, ugaidi, and the things like that. And we look at What influences terrorism, radicalization, and things like that. Many. So types of crime is also important to us. I'm going to come to that in terms of your career. Occurrence of crime. If you go to any police station, you'll find crime statistics displayed in the OCS's office. So that the OCS is able to do what we call a projection or a prediction. That in the month of July, this time last year, I had this number of crimes from this section of my jurisdiction. So what does that mean to that person? It means it is a matter of allocating resources. What resources do I need to be able to cover up and reduce to as low as is reasonably possible the number of these kind of offenses that, for example, will occur around Chuka University. Statistics, we look at that. Next thing, social and individual consequences of crime. What are these individual and social consequences of crime? Socially, you will be disconnected from your social life. Individually, you will be given a time, like Janji said, to rehabilitate. A number of things denied. You denied a number of things. For you to be able to go through the process of rehabilitation, to change your ways from what brought you to where you be kept solitary, to the next where you can be retaken back into the society. The next thing is reactions to crime. Nimeambia about ule jamaa, the serial killer, ambaye alitoroka Jogoo police station. Wananchi walimpata, so walimuua asubuhi. These are the reactions to crime that we look at. What are other reactions to crime? This being an example. So in criminology, we look at that. Next thing is impact of crime. Number one, economy. 24-hour economy. So in reducing crime, we really need to discuss what we have discussed in the previous slide. Causes, impacts, reactions, types, and things like that. We study that. We talk about that and a lot of it, all right? So we need to help this society that we live in. The society that we live in, understand, control, and reduce crime from the studies that we shall undertake. So if you are the president of this nation, or you are the CS Interior, and you are told somewhere in Chuka University, there's a very good student. There's a student who's very good with reference to coming up with innovative ways of reducing crime. Would you go for that person? That is what Bill Gates does. He goes all the way to India, looks at all those young guys who are very good in software management or software engineering, and takes them to Microsoft PLC. And they develop many softwares that we use in running our computers. And within a short time, Bill Gates himself is one of the best guys in terms of monetary values. And you see how he gets his money? Going for the best people. Now, because CIA, every time this nation we are attacked by terrorists, you find that Mossad from Israel will come here. CIA or FBI from US will come here. And they will work with us. What if in that international cooperation or trying to resolve a crime, you yourself emerge as one of the key players in leading key decision makers with points that help them make the right decisions? What do you think that will do to you? Of course, it will give you a lot of marks and you will be scared. You will be scared and you become a demand. Your own self. This is how you build yourself in the market. Majority of us guys in security as a whole, ukiambia jamaa njoo interview, hata vile jamaa anaenda amevaa, kwanza ameanguka. Vile amevaa, mpaka hata wewe unashindwa. Huyu ndiye anataka kuwa corporate security manager wetu. Na vile amevaa. One thing we fail is how we market ourselves. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage you. Dressing must be a priority. Nimevaa mbaya mimi mwenyewe. Hii shati yangu ukiangalia probably is how much? Let's look. I'm not bragging. If I'm to brag, I'll brag and you guys will have all day. How much would this be? Let's discuss. Wengi wetu ni mavazi inatuangusha. We'll come in, I'll address these things that fail us in the market one at a time. The next thing that we do is to help understand the mindset of a criminal. The mindset of a criminal. Look at it today, for example. Yule jamaa ambaye alitenda kitendo pale Jogoo police station. Na akawawa. KTN is looking for somebody to speak about that. KTN today, they're looking for somebody to speak about that. I have declined that invitation because I was supposed to be here. Citizen, all radio stations, they're looking for somebody who can speak about the mindset of this person in being a serial killer. Who is best placed to speak about that kind of a person If that is not you, ladies and gentlemen, who is best placed? So number one thing, you can be a media criminal analyst. Nani hapa angependa kuonekana TV akiongea juu ya kitu ambaye anajua si kitu anaguess? Who? When you go to a TV and speak of facts, you become a brand. That's number one thing you have to understand. Makosa, criminal instances will happen in this country. These media stations will want someone to explain to them why this is happening the way it's happening. And like I say, there is nobody better to do that than you guys who are studying criminology. Is there anybody better? Take an example. Mike Sonko akienda aulizwe kwani ule jamaa alifanya atasema namna gani? Not because he's a bad guy. That area is very good at, isn't it? Kuna mahali Mike akienda kuongea tena utajamaza. Lakini hapa kwa sababu we are the specialists. Why should we let that opportunity go to somebody else and not ourselves? Start thinking about this kind of careers. The next thing, reform of criminals. Mjanji has spoken very well. He's one of the guys who are helping this nation in reforming criminals. He's one of the guys who goes and studies why guys are doing the wrong thing, why police is handling this man whatsoever way. But you are the guys. You are the guys who are going to replace us in trying to explain or in trying to reform the young people turning into criminals. You are the guys who can help us come with strategies, national strategies, to be able to help us to understand why they are behaving the way they are behaving and what is the best countermeasure to reduce that kind of behavior. You've seen what the National Police, NIS, and other government bodies have tried to do in cost to reduce radicalization, to include deploying military in the Bonu forest and things like that. So many things. So we need you guys to be able to explain and reform to us these kind of guys who are causing massive harm to this nation. With that introduction, let us look at what careers can criminology lead to. What are your job options? Number one job option, and I wish I would take this, it's all that I'm old and I can't get back, is to be a criminology professor. I wish I could take that. With further training, you might you have an academic career in a university and become a professor of criminology. I wish I can do that myself. My age is not allowing, but I wish I could do that. To be able to take students like yourself in understanding what criminology is, in understanding how helpful you guys are in this nation, in understanding why your potential should be exploited by this nation and why it hasn't been exploited by this nation. And the reason is, we always take a backseat. This is what security. We always take a backseat. Lakini mahali tunavurugana, tutakuja tutachukua the front seat. But where we apply academics, unakuta kwa majority of us will want to stay behind. Na wale ambao walistruggle na academics, ndio wanataka kuja mbele waanze kuanake wajionyeshe kwamba ni wazuri katika ile nyadhifa. Which in actual sense they are not. So guys, don't stay low. Stay very tall. Ensure you finish your education. Kama uko na uwezo wa ku advance. Kama hauna, I'll give you other options here that you will take and advance them. Tuko pamoja? The next thing, you might become a social probation officer. I don't want to talk about that because I believe Hussein spoke about it. Kweli, you can become a probation officer. And Mr. Janji has taken us through his career progression. Vile alianza hadi mahali ametimia. Na bado anaendelea. You probably see the CEO of IPO in the next many years to come. The next thing you can do is a career in law. Who says you cannot take a career in law yourself? As a criminology student, you can take that and become a career lawyer. And you see, when I was speaking to you guys about my position, I told you I am a member of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators because I'm a paralegal student, a completely paralegal student. I can be able to relate what I come out from an investigation with the laws of the land. And when you give your report, you're giving a report from a point of understanding, from a point of iconism. I am an icon in what I'm saying. So let us remove our heads from low thinkers and become high thinkers. If, for example, today, this is a meeting of architectural students, what do you think you'll be seeing here? Let's judge ourselves. Architects, electronics engineers, right? What do you think you'll be seeing here? Probably all of them will dress like this guy in tie or this gentleman in a very nice half coat. Many of them will not be dressed like me. Why? Because they are proud of their career. They are proud and they put themselves at a certain level. So I'm saying, guys, soon as you join that career, ukienda kwa job market kutafuta job, number one thing, impressions last. Vile umevaa, vile umenyoa, Kiingereza ambao utaongea pale, how you'll express your knowledge from school, contextualizing your knowledge, that will matter a lot at that table where they're separating the best from not the very best, right? Then you can join the security services, like myself. And we are saying you can start your own security company, not necessarily guards and cash in transit and alarms. No. A consultant company, a bridging company, where you bridge the gap between market requirements and graduation from the university. Because it's a very big gap. Some of us don't know how to transform or to what do we call it? Kutoka hapa kwenda pale. Naita aje Kiingereza? I'm forgetting that word. Ikija nitawaambia. Yeah? We don't know how to change from here to there. I had very big problems when I left the military to join the private sector. I have worked for 9 companies since I left the military. Because I had a problem in transforming my military mind into my private mind. What if I had somebody like you who understands that there is this problem of transition, is the right word, of transiting from military mindset to private sector mindset, and you start an institution, an organization, a business, something like that. How many of us do you think you will get to be able to consume your services? Many. So even if you study criminologists, let us also think business. How can we take what we studied in school into business? How can we transform our knowledge, our qualification into money? Tuko pamoja? Guys, tuko pamoja? Am I making sense or am I out of topic? If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, don't clap. Thank you. You are alert. The next thing. Civil Service Administrator. Tuko wengi. Janji has described his job as an administrator. Community development worker. Community requires people like ourselves. And there are specific things we do when you join that kind of career. Crime scene investigator. We need to understand what happened in a crime scene. And there are no better people to explain that kind of a thing than yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody better to explain that kuliko nyinyi. Tumeelewana? Next thing, detective. You can be a prowess detective, private investigator, as long as you can be able to solve cases, apply your knowledge, because I know your lecturers do a lot in passing this knowledge to you. When you contextualize that in a detective's position and do the right job, you will create a market for yourself. A market for yourself, which will then take you to the next level.
How are you? My work is done. Don't you think so? My work is really done. It is done even from the IPOA group that left. It is done from these gentlemen. And yes, you need to join the association, the professional association. You need to join because that is where you grow. And even when you are being asked to apply and you say you are a member of the association, it gives a little bit of weight. Do we have first years here? Are there first years? Let me see by the show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Ah, okay. Great, 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 great. That is great. I've really received a wealth of information. I have been scratching my head trying to write what you can become as people that are doing criminology and security studies. I've even done a video in my YouTube channel, Touch of Grace KE. I've done a video on humanities, causes of humanities, and what you can become. So for me, I will just add the wealth of knowledge that we have received here so that it can be a little bit comprehensive for you. So that when you come to my office, you don't cry and say, I've been called to do Bachelor of Arts in Criminology and Security Studies. I don't know what to become. This is what you're going to become. And you can see the areas are vast and they are very, very wide. It is for you to be able to study. One thing just I want to stress is those extra courses that you can be able to do do them. Like when the gentleman from IPOA was saying that you can find someone who has done criminology and security studies and also has a diploma in maybe accounting, has done CASNEB courses. They're here in the university. You can be able to get a course here and there in accounting. So make sure you do some diploma courses that can be able to beef up your performance. Otherwise, for me today, really, I don't want to say much. I just want to appreciate Abel. I want to appreciate the Integrity Club. I want to appreciate Lucy. Lucy has been to my office I don't know how many times with some other two ladies. They have been in my office so many times telling me, Madam, we have to organize this. Madam, we really need this. We really need that. And I'm really happy that today it has come to pass. Please let it not be the last time.